All right, so we are going to talk about energy or stamina or whatever you want to call it today. I'm probably going to interchange those words, energy, stamina. I mean the same thing, so just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of discourse on this in some of the discussion threads and stuff like that. People complaining about a lack of energy. So I kind of want to go over my thoughts on it and how I'm managing mine. That said, don't take everything I say as gospel. This is just what I'm doing, what's working for me. What works for you might be slightly different, but again, I know a lot of people have been complaining about the lack of energy. I have not had that issue. Personally, my only real hang up with the game has been the permit level stuff, especially in the higher levels, where there's literally not enough runs for me to be able to do in a day to progress in that sense. But I always feel like I have something to do. I don't feel like I'm drained on stamina. I have a good stockpile of energy containers right now. I had even more before this event started. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. But yeah, I'm not going to say this is the thing to do, but this is just something that might help you guys. One thing I want to say as well, if you come into a gacha mobile game kind of deal with no real plan on how you're going to use your energy, you're probably going to have a rough time. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, and why people are having those issues. They're just willy-nilly spending their stamina / energy wherever. And that's causing them issues. And then we have an event like this where it's kind of a lot more demanding on your energy if you want to get the rewards. I'm still not personally a huge fan of it because it does kind of force you into that situation, but there are ways to manage it. And it's the reason I stockpile my energy containers. And again, we'll get more into that as we go. But yeah, you can't come into a game like this, especially as a free to play, which this is going to be mainly focused on. You can't come into a game like this without a plan, without doing your proper research and understanding the energy system of this specific game, or you're just gonna have a rough time. So I'm gonna start off with the things that I think are a priority. Now there's two that aren't really in a specific order. I'm just gonna go based on the order of how they show up in the menus and stuff. But the first one I want to talk about is the Gatorade. I call it Gatorade. Not in here. Where is it? Where are we here? No, it isn't here. It is in the Elite Battles. The Elite Battles, the Gatorade. The Fortnite chug juice or whatever it's called, whatever you want to call it. I want to talk about this first because I do think this is basically 1A 1B paired up with the other one. I think these are going to be one of your best things to do. So pilot upgrades here. So if you don't know, when you go into your pilot skill tree, your bionic computer down here, these Gatorade juice things are what you are going to spend to upgrade your heroes or your pilots, whatever you want to call them. And I think it's very important. So make sure you're not going too crazy. You can see here with my pilots right now, I really only have these first two rows leveled up, and not even all of them are invested. There will be times in your permit level, for example, for core stuff here, this one right here. Unlock bionic computer synapse neuron 12 for 8 pilots, 13 for 8 pilots, 13 for 10 pilots. So there will be times where you are kind of forced into upgrading pilots you might not want to upgrade. But you see the synapse 13, synapse 12. Those are the ones I'm currently on. So I'll tend to prioritize those to progress my permit level, because again, permit level does end up being what was my biggest hold up in progression. So make sure you're doing these, and everybody's going to take different ones. Now we're not going to do a breakdown on that because number one, I don't really know the full breakdown, but certain characters are going to take certain colored juices, whatever you want to call it. So a big one for me are the brown ones, because raiders as well as mechanics both use those quite a bit. So the brown Gatorade I go after all the time. You see here, Frida needs some blue ones. I believe she needs some green ones as well somewhere. Something like that. Figure out which ones you need. So my team has been heavily in need of browns, teal, blues, browns, blues, purples, and greens. Those 4. So that's what I focus on. The reds and the teals are more like melee character ones, I believe, and I don't really run those, so I haven't been farming those. So instead of trying to do every single one and sweeping every single one a day, make sure you're only doing the ones that you need. And again, going back to the pilots here, beyond those specific permit level things that are telling you to do synapse 12 or 13 for 8 or 10 pilots, whatever, I only upgrade my main team, my main 5, and then a couple, like my main team right now is Frida, Sylvie, Seven, Dana, and Emily. And then I'll bring in Grant sometimes, I'll bring in Naomi sometimes, Winston sometimes. Everybody else is kinda whatever, and I don't really use them. So I only will put the Gatorade into them if I have to for those specific things. So you got to manage your resources in that sense. And I think that's kind of it for the pilot upgrades, but that is probably 1A in terms of priority for spending your stamina every day. I personally have been able to do my sweeps every single day, all 4 or all 3 of the ones for, again, for me it's browns, purples, blues, and then this one's green. I haven't finished this one yet. I've been able to do all 3 runs for each one every single day, and I've had no energy issues. So again, as long as you're managing your stuff, you should be okay. Next, we'll talk about, you know what, I'm going to skip ahead to the other priority one, which is going to be Frontier Trials. Now, this is your mech upgrades. So these are the materials you're going to need to upgrade your mechs. So you're going to progress through these, try and get the best rating you can on the current one. And just make sure you get as far as you can first and then sweep. Try and get your 4 sweeps in every day. It's gonna depend. Right now I'm at the point where I need a little bit of the older one that I didn't quite get all my mechs to, I think level 45, and then after I get them all to 45, it skips up to the next one here, and then that's 45 to 47. So I do have to go back a little bit sometimes. I just got my last piece of the Blazer mech today, so I kind of had to go back and sweep some of the older stages for that as well. So there are going to be times where you go over your daily limit or whatever, and that's what those energy containers are for. But make sure you're doing your 4 a day, because this is a big sticking point too. It can take some time. Again, with only 4 runs a day, sometimes a single run will maybe let you upgrade 1 piece. It gets really bad towards like the later stages. You need a lot of these materials, and you need a lot more than you used to, and it's still the same energy cost and still the same cap of how many runs you can do a day. So again, make sure you're doing the ones that will upgrade your current mechs every single day. Again, 1A, 1B, pilot upgrades, mech upgrades, those are the most important in my opinion. And the reason for that is because it's essentially guaranteed steady progress, right? You know that it might take some time, but you do your 4 runs of your mech upgrades and your however many runs of pilot upgrades every day, you're going to eventually be able to actually upgrade your mechs and your pilots. It's going to be that steady progress, right? Because of that, we'll talk about clearance ops now, which is the boss stages. And I think one of the energy traps that a lot of people get caught up in, especially early on. So we're not going to go super crazy into it, but I will mention a couple things here. So you see down here, it costs 50 stamina or 50 energy. That's just the entry fee. So you pay that. You have to have 50 if you want to go in here. ignore the sweeps for now, but this is to start the battle. You have to have 50. Once you go in, it's prorated or whatever you want to call it, right? So if you're able to do it, for example, I'm able to do this one in 1 turn, which is only 8 energy. If you pay the 50 to go in and do it manually, and you do it in 1 turn, you'll only pay 8. You'll get that extra 42 energy back. It's just like an entry fee that they hold and give back to you afterwards, right? If you take, I don't know the math, I don't know if 12 turns is 50 energy or whatever, but you know, if you take that long, it is going to eat up that amount of energy. So the thing with this is it's a random pool, right? So when you look at this, you can kind of see what each of the bosses pools are, and there's a lot in there, and obviously it's going to be a little more weighted towards the kind of shitty blues. And the thing is the blues for the most part aren't very good. You might use some here and there if they're way above the level of your purples and your S ranks. You might use some blues, but for the most part they're just garbage. So that's the problem here. If you're dumping a ton of stamina into this and getting a bunch of garbage blues, you're not making any progress, right? So all that stamina you put in, you might get an S rank here that might last you for a little bit, or you might just get a whole bunch of blues, which is what I get blues for days, and it's just garbage. So that's why you don't want to go too crazy into dumping a ton of stamina into these boss runs. So I just, before I started recording this video, got my current boss fight down to 6 turns, which is 23 energy. So that's not bad. That's not a bad sweep. I like to have them in and around 20-ish energy ideally, but I have gone back and like I've got the first 2 at 1 turn, and then these ones I think I'm at 4 turns for these. I could probably go back and get them down further, but it's not really necessary for this current event. It might be good to do that. You might have to go back and farm some of the later stages where there's a better energy to emblem, these little things, the harvest emblems, where there's a better energy to emblem rate, but that's going to be, I've done a video kind of on that, so you might want to check that out as well. But yeah, do not go crazy on these, and especially early on, you are going to outgrow these weapons pretty damn quick. So you could sit here farming this over and over and over again, trying to get the low tier level 12 S ranks. And then you're just gonna, by the time you get them, you're gonna outgrow them and you're gonna be on to the next one. So don't go too crazy early on, and then figure out your needs for the event and so on and go from there. But again, we're not gonna get too much into that. But yeah, that is why this is not really a priority. Maybe do a few here and there. Again, we got to go a little harder for this event, but don't go crazy. So those are kind of the three main power progression points. The next one are going to be your sim battles here, right? Make sure you're progressing these. These do cost a little bit to run every day. I think it's 10 just to run them, or not every day, but every time you try and do one, you only do them once. Once you beat them, you move on to the next one. I believe it's 10 stamina to do them. This one is a split one, so I think it's 5 and 5. Yeah. So try and progress these as much as you can, because these let you craft the chips that socket into your pilots. Don't go crazy with crafting these, again, early on especially. As you progress through the stages, you're going to level these up, so I'm not going to go into the whole description of what these chips do and all that stuff. That's for another video. But as you progress through the stages, you'll upgrade what you can craft, right? So right now I can only craft for the gamma sectors. I can only craft 1 CP ones, which is 1 point in that sector. I can't do the 2s. I can't do the 3s. So there's not really a point in me making a bunch of 1s when I'm going to need better ones later. Just try and get enough, and you will gain a bunch as you go, to just socket in to unlock the not the global effects, these things, whatever you want to call them, the checkpoints, right? You only need 1 point for the first one, so Obviously, if you can have one that fits the character, so for Frida, for example, here, this one right here, it's got assault hit on it, which is great for her. It's got piloting, dodge for light STs, which is what she runs. So she gets a benefit from both of these. We get 2 points. It moves us up to 2. And yeah, I have enough in here to hit checkpoints, and that's about it. Eventually you'll go back and min-max it a bit, but like this one, for example, it's got ranged 57, which she doesn't really need. It does have assault crit in there, which is good for her, but I'm not trying to min-max like crazy. I'm just throwing what I can in here, and you will get a fair amount of these just randomly as you go. But yeah, back to the sim battles here. Make sure you progress. You do want to progress those, and then just do the 1 craft a day. So there is a daily task in your permits here. Craft 1 algorithm in the simulated battle interface. So that is what the crafting is. I just do my 1 a day. That's it. 10 stamina. I craft 1. I get that daily done. I move on. You can come back to this later once you unlock more and you really want to start min-maxing, but for now, just throw 1 in there, you're good. And that's like my main spending of stamina every day. And I'm gonna have a nice little infographic just over here in a sec, but conserve your energy containers. That's the biggest thing. I've seen some crazy stuff. Somebody posted a screenshot in the Discord a while ago, and their stamina was at like 700 and something out of 200. So I think what they did was they just, every time they got a canister, they spent it and just stockpiled stamina. The thing with that is once you go over that 200 cap, you're not passively regenning anymore, which you're just wasting stamina at that point. So again, I personally hoard these for a number of reasons. So 1, this event we have right now requires you to be spending energy in a place that I don't think is great for you to just dump energy. But if you want the mech, if you want the superconductors, you kind of have to. But I had like 60 plus energy containers before this event started. I'm down to 43 now. I can't wait till this event's over so I can go back to hoarding and not spending these like crazy, but try and conserve them as much as you can. It's okay to use them here and there. Again, I say it's okay. You don't need my permission. Do what you want, right? But don't be too upset if you have to spend a few here and there to get some extra clears of things to keep progressing. There's nothing wrong with that. But just try and be a little stingy and save a little bit with those. But yeah, I've played a lot of gacha games where they have events like this where they want you to spend stamina, or I've played a lot of games where they do like a half price energy weekend or week or whatever. So I try and save those stamina containers for that kind of thing. So again, you do what you want to do, but that's just my suggestion. Make sure to save. Once this event is over, I'm going back to hoarding. So now we're going to get into, let's just go back to the screen. We're going to get into am I pointing the right way? Yes. My little infographic here. So this is going to be more for your like min-maxing if you really care that much. If you don't really care, you can skip it. But yeah. So again, I've heard a lot of complaints about not having enough energy or whatever. So I've done some calculations of basically what we're getting every day, right? So at the top there, we're getting 1 energy every 5 minutes. So if you click on this little thing, you'll see the next energy restoration thing here. It's every 5 minutes, which is 12 energy every hour, which is a total of 288 per day. So then on top of that, you are now also getting the 3 energy containers. So if we go to our daily tasks here, you can see you have to collect them at certain hour intervals. I don't know the exact ones off the top of my head, but you can see we got 1, 2, and then a 3rd one here. That's for doing a dispatch mission. The other 2 just come at certain times. So each of these give you 50 energy. So that's another total of 150 energy. So that is a grand total of 438 energy per day. So taking into account what I was talking about in terms of what I run, I do 3 sweeps of 4 of the different Gatorade battles, the elite battles, for a total of 12, which is 240 energy a day. I do my 4 times frontier trials, which is the mech upgrades, for a total of 80. God, I hope I did my math right. For a total of 80 energy a day. And then the 1 crafting of an algorithm, which is 10 energy for the day, giving us a subtotal of 330 energy spent per day of that 438. So that is 330 energy spent on what I think should be your priorities. And then you still have about 108 leftover stamina or energy after that, which is a little bit more than 2 of the energy canisters you get for free. That's about 100 right there. So you could actually just save them. Whatever, don't pop them until you actually need them. But yeah, with that extra energy, you can now start getting into the boss battles / clearance ops, whatever you want to call them. So assuming the average is maybe about 30 energy for a run, if you start getting it down to a good point, you can sweep 3 times a day, progress your weapons, maybe get lucky, get some stuff you need, while also progressing this event. And yeah, you can fit a decent amount of stuff into the day if you manage your energy properly. And again, obviously, if you do better runs, you're going to be able to fit more in. So that's going to be up to you. But yeah, there's obviously going to be the plus minus of it. If you feel you only need to do 3 of the Gatorade pilot upgrade runs per day, that drops off a little bit of stamina that you can put elsewhere. So everybody's going to have their own needs, but manage your stuff, figure out your needs, and you should be fine. I think that's it for my little infographic here. So we'll get that out of there. Yeah, moving on from there, keep in mind too, this is not really the same topic, but kind of, if you're out of energy, there's still stuff you can do. So you have things like arena. You could be progressing your arena rank, trying to get as high as you can. If you can't pass that current arena, as long as you're in the, I think it's the top 5. Yeah, if you're in the top 5, you're in the like auto promote area, and the timer up in the top right, when it hits that timer, if you're in that top 5, it's going to auto promote you to the next rank, and then you just rinse repeat. If you can pass, great. Always try and be progressing this. If you can pass, do the next one. Basically keep going until you can't promote yourself, and just make sure you're in that top 5 so you get auto promoted. So that's something you can do as much as you want. No energy cost there, so keep that in mind. Another key thing you can do is the once a week border conflict, the roguelike thing. Again, we're not going to get into details of that, but this doesn't cost energy, so you can be doing that. What else we got here? We've got the story stuff, just normal story stuff. Obviously, you're going to be locked out of it certain times with the permit level progression. There are going to be times where you have to just kind of grind out the dailies and stuff to get your permit level up, so you can move on to new content. But there's lots of stuff in here, not just the story stuff. But there's the little side quests down here, the emergency ops, I think they're called. So you can be doing those as well. You can always go back and do achievements, because some of these have achievements or chests you want to collect, that kind of thing. There's a lot of little things you can go back and do for no energy cost. Another one is your front site ops. You should be doing this every day anyway. My main thing is when I first log into the game, I start my dispatch missions. They take about 9 minutes for the first wave of your dispatch missions. Get those done, start those up, and then I pop into the front site ops, which is the co-op thing. So I'll do my 1 front site op. Usually you only need to do 1 to get the max rewards if things go well. Sometimes you might need 2. But yeah, those are the first 2 things I do, and then by the time I'm done this, my dispatch missions are done. I start my next wave of them. So those are all things you can do when you don't have any energy and you're waiting on that and you just want to play. You have options. And yeah, I think that's kind of it for non-stamina stuff. But yeah, like in the end, the too long didn't read. Basically, do your pilot upgrades, do your mech upgrades. Those are priority 1A and 1B in my opinion. Make sure you do that one algorithm craft to do your daily task or get your daily task completed. And then from there, just kind of decide what you want to do with the boss runs. Because of this event, you might want to go back and farm a little more efficiently. You might not get weapons you're going to use, but at least you're farming a little bit better. You're not wasting energy just to progress the harvest season event. But yeah, again, it's all about knowing what you need and how to manage your energy. And if you do it this way, you shouldn't have any issues. I've got almost 300 hours in this game. And while there are times where I feel like I don't have anything to do, it's not because of energy, it's because of the permit system. That's a whole other thing. It hasn't really gotten bad until where I'm at about now has been the worst. Trying to get into permit 6 was kind of rough. But yeah, energy has never really been an issue for me. So as long as you're maintaining your energy and using it properly, you should be good. So hopefully those of you that are discouraged because of the energy system can get something out of this, can learn something out of this. You can manage a little bit better and you might have some more fun in the game. Because it's a really cool game, and it's a shame to see people trying to discourage people just with lack of information. There's a lot of people that just don't really understand things and try and push their problems onto other people and discourage other people from playing the game. And while it does have its issues being a gacha game, mobile game, there are definitely some not so great issues. I don't think the energy system is one. So yeah, it's a cool game. I want to see more people playing it. Obviously I'm a little bit biased because I'm streaming it and playing it every day. So yeah, figure it out for yourself. Play the game for yourself. Don't let me tell you how to play the game. Do what's fun for you. Try it out. See what you think and kind of go from there. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.